New York Attorney General Letitia James' entire world is crashing down around her as we speak, and it is something to see. On Tuesday, the Department of Justice received a criminal referral from the U.S. Federal Housing Finance Agency against Tish James. This allegation is one of the most ironic that we have ever heard. Tish James, who spent the last few years alleging Donald Trump's business was messing with asset valuations to get lower interest rates, has allegedly committed fraud to get lower interest rates. Also, an array of other likely crimes. Again, this is an unbelievable story tonight. It almost seems too good to be true, but the evidence looks to be rock solid. We're going to talk to the guy that dug it up here in just a couple of minutes, the man that found all of this. The media is now on the hunt for Tish James. She's being stalked. Cameras were outside of her home earlier today. Her piece is now over, and it's so well deserved. It appears New York's Attorney General has lied about her principal residency, lied about rental income, lied about the number of units in a townhouse she owns to gain a lower interest rate. Also indications she flew private on taxpayer dime for campaign events, and claimed that her dad was her husband for special benefits on a mortgage. There are an array of allegations here, and they all seem very, very solid. Again, it's an amazing story. And knowing all of this, and she did know all of this because she's the one that did it, here is how she has sounded for the last couple years when she talks about Donald Trump.
Running for Attorney General because I will never be afraid to challenge this illegitimate president when our fundamental rights are at stake.
Oh, we're going to definitely sue him. We're going to be a real pain in the He's going to know my name personally. Donald Trump may have authored the art of the deal, but he perfected the art of the steal.
And I'm not afraid of Donald Trump. You can come after me, but no enemy, nothing formed against me will perish. I'm not afraid of no president. Donald Trump, we're ready for you. We're coming for you.
Trash. This is so good. It is so good. James' response to these allegations coming from her office was not good at all. Attorney General James is focused every single day on protecting New Yorkers, especially as this administration weaponizes the federal government against the rule of law and the Constitution. Yes, they actually wrote this today. She will not be intimidated by bullies, no matter who they are. Read that a few times, laugh to yourself, because it is funny. And that was nowhere near any kind of a denial either. If you actually look at the statement, they don't deny a thing. That might tell you something. Tish James alleged the president and his business committed fraud by engaging in activities done by pretty much every single developer who's ever developed anything. Maximizing valuations when borrowing against assets to secure better interest rates from the bank. Trump's own bank, Deutsche Bank, which he allegedly defrauded, according to Tish James, even testified in his defense in the trial. There was no victim, and yet because we're in New York, which of course is absent an unbiased justice system politically anymore, Trump was mandated to pay nearly $400 million for this nonsense that this woman completely invented. And let's not even get into the E. Jean Carroll and all the other chaos he's been through in this city. Just ridiculous what he went through. Remember all that he went through before this last election, all the walls he had to break down. A completely invented crime this was, which, of course, Tish James sold as legitimate.
White-collar financial crime is not a victimless crime. When the well-connected break the law to take in more money that they are entitled to, it reduces resources to working people, to regular people, to small businesses, and to all taxpayers. Everyday people cannot lie to a bank about how much money they have in order to get a favorable loan to buy a home or to send their kid to college. And if they did, the government would throw the book at them.
Big Tish was such a terrible actress, such a phony, such a fraud. And the best part of the story, well, this is probably the best part of the story, but a great part of the story was that she herself directly contributed to the president winning that last election in a landslide. Her and a few others, you know the names. The weaponization was so clear. It was so vivid to everybody. It was so obvious. Trump's base grew. leading to that landslide victory in November that most thought was absolutely impossible if you would have asked them in January of 2021. Nobody ever thought he could climb back up that hill. Hey, Tish James, I know you're not watching, but you made it happen. Tish James was exposed as little more than a city rat over the past year or two, a bottom feeder who used her race and gender to ascend to the top of New York politics, which would be impressive, except in today's society, as you know from watching what's happening to our major cities, our bluest states, we have decided to let the most unimpressive people that we have govern all of us. People who win elections with rhetoric like this.
Stand up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, and too stale. Too male, too pale, too stale. And we will not go away silently.
Too male, too pale, and too stale. This is how we're going to start choosing government now, based on how colorful and how not male it is. This is the kind of nonsense you have to listen to when you live here in New York. These are the people that lead our communities. How sad is that? All right, we have a great guest tonight. Sam Antar is a forensic accountant who has a very colorful past we'll dig into here in a bit. He is the man that dug all of this up on Letitia James. He's the source of all this information. Sam, thank you so much for joining us here on the set.
Thank you for having me on, sir.
You're a New Yorker. You live right down the street, and this is some fantastic work here. I want to start and get into just the specifics first. Starting with this Virginia property that she claimed as her primary residence while she was, I mean, this is Norfolk, Virginia. This is probably a 5-6 hour drive, claiming it's her primary residence while she's the AG of New York. From your report, you say James signed a specific power of attorney declaring her intent to make 604 Sterling Street in Norfolk, Virginia, her principal residence, a legally binding statement that may have automatically vacated her position as New York Attorney General under Public Officers Law 30, a declaration that came just 45 days before she launched her case, her civil fraud case against Donald Trump. Tell us more about what happened in Virginia here.
She purchased a property with a relative. This is in 2023, a few weeks. She closed
2 years
on,
ago, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She closed on it right before the Trump trial. And in the filed documents with the county clerk's office, there was a power of attorney that she gave her cousin or niece to close the mortgage.
Yep.
And on the power of attorney, she represents that I intend to use this property as my primary residence. Now, there's two problems with that. The first problem is she lied on a power of attorney. Would anybody really believe that she was going to move to Virginia in the middle of the Trump trial? Second part is there's Section 6 of the mortgage that states that the borrower, meaning her and her niece, have to occupy the property as their primary residence within 60 days. Not one or the other, both.
Wow.
She at least never occupied it. Right. That's
and what was the motivation to do this? Why lie?
Lower interest rates.
Lower interest rates.
I'd call her a petty thief.
A petty thief. This is, I mean, this is, when you look at the allegations she made against Trump, is this act worse, better, same?
Well, no. Listen, Trump is not a real felon. I'm a real felon. Okay, so so Trump didn't do anything wrong.
Yeah. You don't see anything wrong in the case you made against Trump? You think, I mean, obviously, the jury here thought that he did something wrong.
Well, listen.
It seems like what every developer has ever done.
You should have listened to the appellate arguments because the appellate judges seem to be. It seems like they're going to write an opinion that's going to vacate the entire case.
Yeah. Boom. Okay. Yeah. It's because, I mean, it obviously was. We were all astounded by what they charged him for that. That penalty was ridiculous. I want to move on here. Let's talk about Brooklyn, New York. This is her actual main residence. She walked out of this house this morning, a townhouse she owns. It's a multifamily home. You discovered James has been claiming that her townhouse is a 4-unit dwelling when it actually has 5 units. Why would she do this?
To obtain lower mortgage rates. Again,
same motivation.
if 1 to 4 units has different underwriting guidelines, and also insurance too, by the way, insurance fraud. Whereas if it's 5 or more units, it's considered a commercial property and also subject to different insurance guidelines.
Right.
She repeatedly lied because there's a certificate of occupancy that states that it's 5 units. And in New York, that rules. And it's unbelievable that that complaints were filed with the Department of Buildings, and they wrote it off as a minor problem, minor error. Where every other landlord in New York, if you pull that stunt,
right.
Illegal conversion, having a building that's different from the certificate of occupancy,
yep.
they will fine you. They will make you alter the building.
She's flat out lying on these documents. She didn't deny anything about it. 1983, she takes out a $30,000 loan with her dad. She files it as a husband and wife. She's married to a father. Why?
First of all, that was discovered by Joel Gilbert, not me. I don't want to take credit for anybody's work.
Okay.
All right, that was 1983. What he found was that she bought the house as daughter and father and daughter, and then she when they did the mortgage, it was husband and wife.
As husband and wife.
Also, you get different underwriting as husband and wife than as you buy it as partners or two family members.
We have
and now this is different from the Brooklyn home. This is a different property. I think it was in Queens.
In Queens, yeah. It was a long time ago. This is 41 years ago, 42 years ago. We have allegations of flying private on taxpayer money, almost $42,000 to places like Martha's Vineyard, Puerto Rico. We have luxury hotels with mischaracterized on official filings. What can you tell us here?
Let's break it down. Between 2021 and 2022, she used private jets to get around, spent $42,000 of taxpayer money. The vendor she spent the money on was called Venture Jets. No other government agency, because the information is out there, back to 2014 ever used Venture Jets or for private jet travel, period.
Yeah.
Then in 2022, when the government stops paying for it, her campaign starts paying for it. Now, let's go back to this stuff that the taxpayers paid for. If you align the payments for for Venture Jets in those trips, because you don't pay jet travel net 30 days, you pay it COD, cash on delivery.
Yeah.
Okay. Some of those trips align with major campaign events that she was attending. That's a problem.
That's a big. She has a lot of problems here.
Right.
It's unbelievable reporting. We've dug through. I think the bulk of of what you have found. I believe. Real quick before I let you go, you have a past.
Yes.
And tell us how you got so good at what you just did with what you worked on this for 7 months. How'd you get so good at this?
Because I was a criminal for 20 years, and I was very good at doing what I did as a criminal. Morality aside, the FBI saw a talent in me, and they helped me out going forward after the Crazy Eddie case. The FBI taught me things when I was being investigated. The FBI taught me how investigations are done. All of the beatings that the FBI gave me when I was doing crime made me into a better human being.
That's amazing. And you're just you said you like to figure out puzzles.
I love puzzles. I love numbers. Listen.
Yeah.
I am not the Trump administration. I don't work for the Trump administration. I did this on my own time and my own dime. And I don't give a damn what Trump does.
Yep.
I will hold it personally accountable.
Sam Antar. Thank you so much, sir. We appreciate it. Great reporting. Everybody's reporting the same stories, the same spin. You turn the channel, it's always the same. But not us. We're different. We report the real news. No spin, just the facts. Turn to us, and you won't turn back.
Tune in to Rob Schmitt tonight on Newsmax.